Please welcome to the Acoustic Café and the Leon Loft, Josh Ritter.
Hello. How's it going?
So good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you. How's everything?
Everything's great. You know, we can go into that, but let's hear some music. What do you want to play first?
I'll play this song called On the Water.
Awesome.
Made a good run, but I run too far. Fought the battle of jalopy in this beat-up car, but I'm drawn to you, honey, like the sea to the fisherman's daughter. It's just a short walk on the water. If you find yourself alone, if you run out of road, if you get the way it gets when lightning strikes and then goes, I'll be around it, don't matter what the others offer. It's just a short walk on the water. I'm in love with you, honey, you got nothing to fear. You're standing over there and I'm standing right here. The choice is for you, I can't make it for you though I wanna. You and I've been lovers, honey, you and I are friends. It's been that way forever since I can't remember when. Everything happens for a reason, or at least it oughta. It's just a short walk on the water. I'm in love with you, honey, you got nothing to fear. You're standing over there and I'm standing right here. The choice is for you, I can't make it for you though I wanna. With the storm in your hair and the salt in your eyes and the cyclone and the cap of each wave like the first day that you fell in love. And you're in between nothing but the thin air and the unknown. On a night when enough couldn't possibly be enough. And everything's changing now, times are strange. You know me, honey, like you know my name. My heart is a silver fish on the line of your laughter. It's just a short walk on the water. I'm in love with you, honey, you got nothing to fear. You're standing over there and I'm standing right here. The choice is for you, I can't make it for you though I wanna. Made a good run, but I run too far. Fought the battle of jalopy in this beat-up car, but I'm drawn to you, honey, like the sea to the fisherman's daughter. It's just a short walk on the water.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
On the air live for Ann Arbor's 107.1 at the Leon Loft with Josh Ritter. You know, there are a lot of fishermen in this state. I read that line. My heart is a silver fish on the line of your laughter. That is so awesome.
Thank you very much.
It's just great.
I had a good day that day.
I'll say. And actually, that particular set of lyrics printed on a page that has a picture of you and Jason Isbell sort of pouring over lyrics. And I did want to ask you about this time out, as you know, longtime listeners are looking for the artist searching for new things. In this case, you know, you really surrounded yourself with a whole not just one working producer relationship, but an entire band to create Fever Breaks, which is that's interesting. Interesting choice.
It was really lucky for me. I had the idea that I needed to to work not only with a new producer, but also just I wanted to kind of work with somebody who I felt was kind of behind the same spot in the microphone as I was. I was kind of, I was looking for a friend,
Kindred spirits.
Yeah, and we had been, I'd known Jason a bit, but when we went on the road, and I supported him for a good while a few years ago, and really got to know him and his family, and was, every night knocked out by those songs and that band, and so at that moment, I realized that I wanted to see if maybe he wanted to work together, and and he came back to me and said that would be great. Let's use my band, and that's something I hadn't considered, because I have this band that I play with, the amazing Royal City band that I played with, some of them for 20 years since I started, and it was a big moment. I realized that I had my swimming trunks on, but I had to jump in the pool, and so I called my band and said, this is something I think I want to try, and they were awesome about it, and what ended up happening is that I not only got to work with Jason, but I got to work with Amanda Shires, and who is an incredible musician and knows my stuff in a really cool way. She was able to translate a lot of things that I was trying to do, and I got to work with this amazing 400 unit, which is in a lot of ways a similar situation to me. Like Jason has these people who are not only great musicians but great friends, and work together and have lived together in small spaces, and speak the telepathic language of music on stage that only a certain group of people that know each other really well can do, and so I started with working with Jason, but ended up working with this kind of cathedral of people. It was great.
You wrote in the liner notes that you felt like your family had expanded a bit through this experience. So I clearly it went very well. Doesn't sound like there was really any push and pull to it. It really was like, you guys know what to do, and you're understanding all of this, and you're getting it.
I think that, I think we, speaking for myself, I put a fair amount of pressure on my work to begin with, and that by the time it comes to, recording, that's the time that I have to celebrate it, and so I go in, I definitely work really hard, and sometimes I write really hard in the studio, but it's always a very celebratory a feeling, it's really, and yeah.
When you get to actually deliver it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but
you've been writing it all by yourself, and now you get to actually create it.
So yeah, the push and pull is there in this situation. I brought down a bunch of songs with just me and my guitar to Nashville, and played for Jason and Amanda at their place, and just played them a bunch of the stuff I was thinking of, and typically that's not the point when I feel like that's not the spot where I typically think of starting to work with a producer, but they were both like, this is good, but you could get weirder here, or I see what you're saying, but maybe I could use a little bit more info on this situation, or and that was new to me. I sort of think that I kind of write on an island. I sit in my room and giggle to myself. and so I took those songs back, and I thought, okay, well, how can I push these farther than I thought I could, and that's how they ended up, some of them taking on a different quality and I owe that to them.
I'm going to want to hear about this weird piece here in just a minute. We'll get more to that. What do you want to do next?
Well, let's see here. I think I'd like to do a song called Old Black Magic.
Yeah.
True love to true love and rust to rust. I let the others cast stones while I drew in the dust. I tried to be a good man. Something changes in the wind. I got that old black magic rolling in, wave upon wave, Here come the dreams, and I can't see the lighthouse, and the lighthouse can't scream, man. Don't you know I need you so bad? Tell me where the hell you been. I got that old black magic rolling in, rolling, 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 rolling in. I can't sleep for crying, I cry all the time. Everybody got an angel and I got mine. Wings of a crow, overshadowing. Got that old black magic rolling in, rolling, 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 rolling in. The way it goes down, it's all in my head. I feel it rising from its unmarked bed. Sure not the devil, sure not his friend, but I know for sure what's rolling in. For fire, you already were a thief, so I knew you'd be with me when I need you to be. Steal my soul, honey, keep it for me when I got that old black magic rolling in, rolling, 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 rolling in, rolling, 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 rolling in. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
So the last I talked to you, it was 2017. We were down in Nashville talking about a very different kind of record, very different, called Gathering. And then a year later, you were back in Nashville recording Fever Breaks. Did you know, and you've sort of hinted at it, that you already had the songs. You weren't necessarily clear on how they would be treated or who you would be working with. You had written the songs probably as you always write the songs. Mm-hmm. So these were decisions made after the things were written rather than knowing, oh, I'm writing for this project, right?
That's right, yeah. Usually I feel that, well, with Gathering, I took an approach where I went in and recorded 30 songs and then chose from those. And with this approach, like, so I usually have like a bunch of songs, and then but it just is, you know, in some stage of completion or somewhere, and it helps, you know, it helps me. But I had these. There were some songs that I was working on that just felt like they fit together in a way that I couldn't tell. It was instinct that made me feel like this song belongs, and it makes me feel like they're siblings to each other. And I didn't really know why until I started to realize, you know, that I was writing the record in the context of things going on in the world, and that I was being very influenced by the things I was seeing around me, and that was important to like look at, and maybe the key to figuring out what songs belong together.
When you say that Jason and Amanda, when they heard him, they sort of pushed you further, are we talking about lyrically pushing you forward into other territories or musically?
I think both, you know, but you know, in you know, one of the things we like, you know, definitely in you know, in times at times with lyrics, with a song like On the Water, you know, I had several portions of it, and I had lines, and but I didn't have this middle section, and Amanda said, you know, okay, well, you need to get all Josh Ritter in here, you know. And I said, okay, I'll try. And she's like,
You know
but
what that
remember, you
means?
got to knock it out, you know. And I was like, well, okay, I don't know what to do, but I'll go for that, you know. And yeah, it's so they pushed me in, like, and in the studio as well, you know, in situations where, you know, I would be tempted to go a direction, you know, Jason would say, okay, let's try this in a way that would be maybe scarier to me, you know, playing with a bunch of these great musicians who I don't know, you know, and I'm still learning chords, you know, and they know all this music, and so being in the room with them, you know, I was nervous, but they really, you know, it was a great chance to, like, kind of push and get weirder.
I'm hearing the potential for discomfort working with really strangers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But a lot of good things can come from that. Like when you are off all of your normal marks, like new things come out of that most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes really good ones.
And beautiful stuff. And really, like, at this moment, 10 records in, which is snuck up on me as like a landmark that shouldn't matter, but does to me in a way, you know, like, it's important to, like, shake it up, but it's also you don't necessarily know you need to. You know what I mean? You get into you know, and that's the part that's scary to me, is that I'm afraid of getting in a rut and not knowing it. You know, like being the last person at a party. You know, and everybody's like, well, it's time to go to bed. I think I might head to, and you don't know that you're supposed to leave, you know. It's important to shake it up and stay on your toes a little bit, and sometimes that means really being nervous. And I guess that maybe that's the big lesson I learned from this whole record, was to pay attention a little bit more to my nerves and go with them sometimes.
Awesome. What do you want to do next?
Let's see here. I think I want to do a song called "I Still Love You Now and Then."
They all say that you're doing well, living down in Arkansas. You got a family now, they tell. The old days never called you. Me, I'm working for the man, but he ain't got the best of me. I have friends and I have plans. Someone's got the rest of me. But I still love you now and then. I love you now and then when I think of you. I still love you now and then. I love you now and then. And I still love you now and then when I think of you. Said a broken heart don't leave a scar. I keep it to myself at night. I keep my head up though it's hard. All these things take a little time. I still love you now and then. I love you now and then when I think of you. I still love you now and then. I love you now and then. And I still love you now and then when I think of you. Never mind all that they say. How are you these days? I laugh and tell them that I'm doing fine. It's gonna take time, gonna take more than time. I wish for you the very best. You always were the best of us. There was you and then the rest. That's the girl I'm thinking of. 'Cause I still love you now and then. I love you now and then when I think of you. I still love you now and then. I love you now and then, and I still love you now and then when I think of you. I still love you now and then when the fingers brush my skin. Night falls over all of everything that's been, and everything we were cannot be again. I still love you now and then when I think of you. Think of you. I think of you.
Listen, we're going back to the radio station now, but continuing on here at the Leon Loft with Josh Ritter. The new album, which is out now, is called Fever Breaks, and Josh is at the Majestic tonight. There are still tickets for that show in Detroit if you want to hurry on and get them, and you can hear all these brand new songs and a bunch from the past as well. And you can catch the full interview that we're doing here on Acoustic Café in a couple of weeks. We have been brought to you today by Ceci Mazda. Back to more music now on Ann Arbor's 107.1. Bam. All right. There is a song on Fever Breaks called "The Torch Committee," which is horrifying. It is really very powerful. You mentioned being affected by the things that are going on here in the world around us in these troubled times. And it's not the only one on Fever Breaks either. I ask this question a lot to people who choose to write these sorts of songs.
Yeah.
Just about being able to keep up with the daily outrage.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And even something that you think is very relevant, and you've written it, and the world is fluid. It just keeps changing like this. Mm-hmm. It's hard to hold on to ideas, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's I think the real thing about, like, I don't know, the thing about like this political songwriting that is like troubles me, or is like hard for me as an artist, is that two things. One, I think that oftentimes like political songs are written to educate, and I think that that's just a dead end. Yeah. Like, because you know, we're not political scientists. We're like, you know, songwriters, you know, like, and like, we don't know anything else more than anybody else. And that's like, and sometimes somebody gives you a microphone and you start to think that you know more, you know, but like, that's one thing that I don't like about political songwriting oftentimes. And second thing is that I find that that in order to stay, to go for currency, to go for something that really feels like it fits the moment, it's written, it expires very quickly. And the song loses its relevance because it addresses things that are very timely and may hit the nail on the head, but they, we move on in our lives, and like you say, the deluge just continues to pass over us. So how do you write a song about a moment and hope that it can last, which is what I want. And but the thing about the moment is that it's filled with archetypes,
right?
And like there's so many, there are no shortage of comic book villains and people waging good fights against troubling things, and I think if we write in archetypes and those songs can last, and there may be a little bit more I hope that they go in dealing with archetypes, that they can go a little deeper and be more relevant over a longer time.
Mm-hmm. Which is what you did with this. Isn't that kind of the advantage of 20 years? That you sort of know enough not to do the impulse writing and to try to capture maybe how angry you feel or how worked up you feel about a given thing, and that you have to try to make a larger context out of it. And that from 20 years of doing this.
Well, I think that's just how I try and contextualize reality for myself. Is that's the only way that I've been, is writing it down and making it rhyme and making it make sense to me, is the only way I can cage the animal for a little bit to move on with the rest of life, is trying to describe the feeling that I'm having. And with a song like Torch Committee, maybe it was 2 or 3 years of just having a terrible feeling that something was weird, and then saying, and then it, there was all the whole song was there, and the feeling of bureaucratic separation from yourself, and all this stuff, and how authoritarianism comes in with papers and regulations but then I saw I was in a hotel room somewhere, and I turned on the news and I saw Charlottesville, and I saw the torches, and I thought this a mob calling itself a committee is what we're dealing with,
So that song actually started beforehand.
Yeah, it was there. It was just like a feeling that it didn't have the right. I didn't have a metaphor to describe it.
Interesting. Yeah. What would you like to do next?
I'll do that song if that's cool.
Yeah. Not that you have.
Good evening, may we say again how pleased we are that you've come in. The day was long, your bed was soft, still there's some names we're crossing off. Says here by your file you have been so loyal, brave and true. We need not fret, you need not fear, and so we come to why you're here. Torch Committee now confirms the truth of rumors lately heard, that there come monsters in our midst, well disguised and carefully hid, anywhere and anyone, the root of every evil done. But you will help us root them out, the Torch Committee has no doubt. See your hands and legs are tied, in clearest breach of bylaw 5, and left here in this little room in clearest breach of bylaw 2. And though you know that we take pains, the process of the law remains. All technicalities aside, you see our hands are also tied. us the job brings only pain. To see you naked in these chains, to see you naked where you stand, where so many others have. Imagine how it feels each day to send so many men away. But see, we've got a job and we must dot each I and cross each T. Something's horribly amiss. How else could you be on our list? Still we all know Directive 12. All those so named must prove themselves. The hungry mob and angry crowd, young men making families proud by means not meant for light of day. We wish there was a softer way. Wait, suppose that we untie your hands to sign upon this line, to pledge that you have always been a patriot and citizen. Please ignore the legalese. Lawyers, am I right? Now see why we're so happy that you came. Appendix 3, a list of names. Pardon us, but we can't help but laugh. If you could see yourself relax, it's always strange to see the names on each Appendix 3. Brothers, fathers, sons, and wives, the ones with whom you've shared your life. Mothers, daughters, sisters, friends, patriots, and citizens. Children playing in the street, strangers whom you chance to meet. The God to whom you chance to pray, the girl with whom you chance to stay. We know their monsters, know their names, by which they go and which they've changed. And every whisper that we've heard, we've read their poison, every word. How we wish that we could say that each of them will walk away, but sadly it's the awful truth. It's them or us, it's them or you. Put your finger to the names. The only cure for fear is blame. In doing so, you're doing good. There's many called who never would, who stuck by what they thought was right, who disappeared by dark of night, who disappeared into the breeze and left no family left to grieve. There, now see, that wasn't bad. And as you leave, you can be glad that you have done your little part to fight the monsters in the dark. But have a care, the night is cold. Take a torch before you go, and we will keep you safe and warm. That's what the torch committee's for.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, you guys.
And on the album, that builds to this huge fort. It's just amazing.
It was really fun to record that because we recorded a bunch of times, and each time Jason would run in and be like, "That's cool, but it's not loud enough."
Right.
Like every
It just
time,
keeps getting louder.
Yeah.
Finally, Fever Breaks brings us your version of the song called Silver Blade, which came out last year on the final Joan Baez album, Whistling Down the Wind. She has identified that as being her last album. She's going to retire from making music in that way. And that was one of two that you wrote for that project.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is it's just, well, she was an early believer in what it was you were doing. That goes back about 15 years, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Where she first started recording your music. Did she contact you for this, or was this a song that you had that you thought she should do?
No, she wrote me out of the blue and was like, I'm doing a record. Like, if you have songs like turn on the tap, and which is like such an amazing thing to get a note, firstly from her, which is, you know, a wonderful thing, but like I feel like anybody who's like an artist or a writer is like, I imagine, you know, is already secretly hoping someone gives them permission to go crazy, you know, to let them do their thing, and she just knew, and she just pressed the button, and she told me that the record was going to be sort of, she wanted it was going to be her last, and so it made me think about how I first started hearing her, and I first got her a tape at a gas station in Medford, Oregon, and it was her very earliest recordings, and it was such a strange thing to find at a gas station now that I think about it. Yeah. But on it was all these beautiful songs, and Ghostly, and her song Silver Dagger, which is this old song, you know, don't sing me love songs, you'll wake my mother, she's sleeping here right by my side, in her hand is silver dagger, you know, and it's like this song that this person is singing to a wooer, and like saying, don't mess with me because my mom has a knife, and she will cut you. And so I love this song, and I love the song so much, and it was so beautiful. And when I started thinking about it, I wanted to like write a story about how the mom got the silver dagger, and I thought it would be a nice like bookend to have a song like that at the end, and so it was really fun to write. Yeah.
And you got to tell her that context, right?
Yeah.
And tell her what you were thinking when you were writing the song, and
yeah, and she's really cool about, she's an amazing person. She knows what you need, you know. I remember when I first went on tour, it was like I wasn't really hardly living anywhere, and she took me on tour, and it was my first time, you know, really living a long time on the road, and being on a bus, and seeing what all the people did, and she taught me so much about living on, you know. She saw I was cold, and she bought me a jacket. You know, she's amazing. Yeah.
Saint Joan.
Yeah,
That's what people used to say, Saint Joan. Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, I'd love
It's
to.
been lovely catching up with you again. And again, all of these songs on Fever Breaks, which is the new one from Josh.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.
I have myself a silver blade, the edge is sharp, the handle bone. A little thing of silver made, now it's the only thing I own. Once I knew a lordling fine, I heard a whistle as he rode, and I was bold to call him mine. The shoes upon his horse were gold. One look in my eyes and he bid me climb onto his horse, and asked if I'd his lady be and go away forevermore. He spoke of love songs in each kiss, and I, who was a young girl then, was promised every young girl's bliss, got up and rode away with him. He led me to his castle tall, with promises and jewels until. He led me through his castle hall, then took my clothes and worked his will. When he had and I lay there, from my head with a silver blade, he cut a lock of my crow-black hair, then bid me dress and go my way. But I marked well the silver blade, and where he said it when he did, And when his back was turned, I laid it buried deep beneath his ribs. I used my dagger as a spade where the thorns and lilacs grow. I cut the ground into a grave in a place even God don't know. And every evening I return to the place for him I chose, until his skin had turned to worms, wild dogs scattered his bones. And all I have of what I was is the memory of a maid who mistook a thief for love, but who gained a silver blade. Silver blade. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.